Hello everybody and welcome to Scapa 2020 the series. It's Thursday afternoon and we're doing our second dive, and for our dive today we are diving this one, the SMS Brummer. Bit different to the other ships that we've been diving because this one was a mine laying ship, so definitely designed for speed, get in, drop the mines and then get out again. So this dive also represents a little bit of an error from Emily, the skipper. She got the current wrong on this one, and it did impact the dive. So I think she sort of said it was coming this way, and it certainly wasn't. It was coming dead straight down this way. So that presented a bit of a problem for us because on the dive we come down the bow shot there and we're trying to make his way obviously against the current here, so a little bit slower progress on this one, and because of that we only really do the bow section. We don't have a look at the stern. So anyway, another thing I need to tell you before we start is this scan data is not accurate anymore. I don't know whether it's because the Brummer was slightly less well built or not quite as sturdy because of the fact that she's a fast ship, but as you can see she's breaking up a lot like the Dresden, with the deck peeling away, but that's got worse since this scan was done. So for instance, this deck plating here is more towards the seabed than it was. This gun here, which on this scan is clear, has these superstructure bars have folded over and are now covering the gun. The conning tower is buried under this bit of plating here, which is still there, so I'm assuming that's peeled off, and I guess the conning tower is holding it up. So the conning tower is sort of buried in there, but what you are going to see is a very nice sort of bridge railing across here, and quite an ornate compass mount in here. Now I think Emily, when we looked at this dive, had some photos of the rest of it, the actual compass that's kept in one of the museums. That was quite nice. And then the only other sort of real bit here is again, you just make out this gun here, which again on this scan looks clear. It's not clear. It looks like this bit of decking structure here has come over and covered it over. So if I do it in, perhaps say orange, this is probably covered from there to there now in metal. So you have to sort of duck in this bit, go in there and sort of behind, and all you can really see now is the breach, and even that's not super clear to see, but I'll show you when we get there. The dive plan, just move back around to the front. So as I've sort of indicated already, shot line comes down onto the bow, and it seems to be split into three sections. You've got sort of the hull here, and then you've got some of this superstructure, and then you've got the deck that's now peeled away even more, so it's a little bit difficult to orient yourself, but we do sort of work it out when we sort of drop off here and we see these capstans that are now a lot closer to the seabed than they look here. From there we do move forward, we check out this gun, and we're heading this way, so it is against the current. Now Neil and Nat stay out here, but I actually go under this bit of deck that's sort of creased over, check out the conning tower, and I pop out about here next to this bridge structure that's again quite delicate. I think everything on this boat is a little bit delicate. I know Emily was quite keen to tell us not to touch anything, don't sit on anything, don't touch anything, all that kind of stuff, but it is, and it's quite nice to see, and you'll see that in the video. Now once you've done that, you want to go and see the iris, because it's the one thing that everybody goes on about with Scapa is you've got to go see the iris. So we're going to see the iris. So ironically it doesn't show up on the scan, but what you're looking for is once you've done this sort of bridge bit here, there's kind of just a, well, it looked to me anyway, we'll see it on the video, just a pile of junk here just randomly, but lent up against it sort of like that. Let me just do that in a different colour so you can see. So sort of lent up against like that is what used to be part of one of these, searchlight irises. So if you ever watched any like World War One or World War Two movies, you see the boats signalling to each other, and they do it with Morse code, using these big searchlights and flashing them on and off. And that's what it was. Obviously, when the iris was closed, it was off, and then they'd press the button, it would open and let the light through. And again, it's a really sort of delicate little thing, and it's impressive it's survived that long, to be honest with you. It's definitely got, when you look at it, some blue coloration to it. It's certainly bits of blue on it. So the guess is it's sort of copper, or made of copper, or copper plated or something. So, but anyway, we'll take a good look at that. In fact, I think we do too, because say it's there. What I actually do is, because of the current, I sort of swim around here. We'll have a look at it, and then the current takes me over, and then I come back around again with Neil and Nat. So once I've done that, guys, we sort of duck back in. There's another gun here that I said is now covered. We'll have a look. I'll sort of swim in, have a look at that, come out, and then by the time we get to sort of this scrapyardy bit here, Nat's hit a 10 minutes deco limit, so we bag off and head straight up. So short video today, guys, I'm afraid, but anyway, let's get into it. So welcome to the Brummer, guys. We're going to do the usual here, a bit of kit fettling, make sure everything's attached, yada yada yada, and then we're going to head off. Now in a second you'll see me look at Neil, and he sort of shrugs and says I don't know which way to go, because it is a little bit disorientating, this wreck at the minute, because it's not quite clear. I mean, obviously this is hull that we're on at the moment, but over this side, so is this in between decks? There's sort of what would look like the top deck sort of sticking up higher than the rest of the hull. It's just a little bit confusing. Then you've got that sort of bit there you saw in the distance. It looks like this sort of tree poking out, tree of steel. So it's a little bit odd, but anyway, we do work it out eventually. If you go over to the left hand side now, what that appears to be is where the top deck is sort of folded over and has sort of gone over onto the anchor capstans and anchor chains, which you'll see shortly. So here you can see I've just picked out the anchor chains, so I'm thinking, right, well, the capstans must be around here somewhere, and sure enough they are just under this plate. So there's a lion's mane there. I'll make sure we don't headbutt him. You're not going to enjoy that. But yeah, so what's to the right of us now is the top deck that's, again, a lot like the Dresden, peeled away. There's the capstan, but as you can see, you can see it, can't you guys? It's just folding over away from the superstructure, and it's a bit different to the scan that we looked at. So again, just there, look, you can see the barrel of that gun that again on the scan wasn't covered in anything, whereas it clearly is now. Again, that looks like sort of superstructure that's sort of doubled over from what would, it should be holding the top decal, but it's clearly fell down and fell over this gun. So yeah, you can see the barrel and there's the shield of the gun, so it's virtually upside down from where it should be. It's completely peeled away from the hull, and just behind that, under this sort of sheet of steel that I'm looking at now, you can see there's a porthole there. So I'm going to go to the right hand side of that, I think, and then in, and the conning tower is sort of buried under there, sort of holding all this piece of decking up. And there it is, the conning tower, completely upside down with its top end wedged firmly into the seabed, and then the top deck on top of it. So anyway, we'll have a bit of a look round. It's quite interesting. I think with my obsession with the glass in the little slits now, I think I stick my fingers in this to see if there is any glass in this one, and this one there certainly wasn't. So we've made our way to the bridge structure, and as you can see, there's some support struts there. So this is kind of the lower bridge structure of this boat, and then there's a platform sort of to my right hand side, so in front of us now. And what I'll do is I'll come round, and if you keep an eye on the right hand of the screen, you'll start seeing, look, the pretty little handrails that are there. Again, for saying the boat's been down there over 100 years, quite impressive that they survived, because they're quite delicate. Well, as you can see, quite delicate little things, and you would imagine that quite easy to destroy. So very, very carefully around that. Neil and Nat are just off to my left, keeping an eye on me. But yeah, we'll just swim out a bit, then I'll do a bit of a U-turn and try and get a shot of this compass binnacle type thing. So yeah, that circular thing just in the bridge structure that's getting lit up every so often there, that's it. Apparently there would have been like a pedestal on there that slotted in, and then the ship's compass was on the top of that. Now, this is that bit of scrap that I said, because just off to the right of the screen now, there we are. You just see it. It doesn't seem to be attached to anything. It's not like a mast or anything like that. It just seems to be there. And we're really starting to feel this current now. But anyway, if we just carry on having a smosey round, what I'm trying to do is just, feeling the current and knowing it's going to push me back over. I'm going a little bit further, and I'm going to try and turn around so at least I can get a half decent shot of this delicate iris. And there it is. And as you can see, it's just sort of rested up against the rest of the metal. And if if the current wasn't there, I'd have liked to have got a little bit closer and sort of had a real look in detail. But as you can see, it's got definitely some blue tints to it. But it is super fine, super thin. So again, for 100 years down there, really quite impressive. I'm just sticking my head in this dark hole now because I'm looking for this midship gun that should be pointing towards the stern. Now, looking at that scan we've just looked at, none of this should be here. This should be nice and clear, but this is all collapsed over this midship gun, so it's different to the scan we looked at. I'm pretty sure Emily's scan showed this, which is why I was new to look here. But anyway. When I get right down to the bottom, which looks like we're about there now, if you look as far as my torch can see, there you go, you just see it there, that's the breech of this midship gun, and that's about as much as you can see with it now, because like I say, the rest of the ship's kind of rolled over onto the top of it, I'm afraid. There's Neil and Nat waiting patiently for me to get my fat ass out of there so they can go in and have a look. So we'll just lurk around for a second, while they go and have a look at it. So at this point, guys, we're just battling the current, heading towards the stern. We just swimming. It's more and more of a scrapyard. Again, we're getting to the turbine rooms where the salvors went in and blew the crap out of her and did their thing. But I think in a second we just have a quick catch up on times and this, that, and the other before proceeding forward. So sit back and enjoy. So here you can just see Neil signalling to me, lots of flashes, so I turn around to have a look and see what he's letting me know about now, and I'm thinking, God, what's fallen off me now? But he seems to be wanting me to look up. There we are, and I turn around, and lo and behold, we've been caught up by Dean and Vince, so I guess he was just making sure that I knew they were there. I think in a second Vince realises he's gone over us, turns around to get a picture of me, and we have a little wave. Here he is. Hello. Hello. And that's it, guys. Dive over. That's just the way it goes. Nat had hit 10 minutes to surface, so it was time for us to leave. To be honest with you, I was sick of battling the current on this one anyway, so I wasn't sad to see the back of it. So yeah, we bag off, do the deco, and get back on the boat. So we are getting so close to the end of this series now. I've only got one more dive to show you. Obviously tomorrow is Friday, and I do 2 dives, but I'm only going to show you the one, and I'll explain that on the next video. But really don't miss that, because as luck would have it, it is the best dive that I did all week for so many reasons. Not just the dive, but it was just a good dive, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell, so you don't miss it, because you're really not going to want to miss this one. But other than that, guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing okay in these crazy times. I hope you're getting out diving. So dive safe, and I will see you on the next one.